Hello dear learners, welcome back to MeghaDiscourse where literature meets excellence. I hope you all are doing well and you are preparing well for your exam. And in this video, we are going to cover the most elegant topic of English literature, Caroline age, the age of Charles I. And this age has witnessed a lot of political disturbance. How and why? We will cover it in this video. And these are the topics which we are going to cover in this video. So welcome. The Caroline age. The Caroline age refers to the period of King Charles I, his reign from 1625 to 1649. And this term Caroline comes from the Latin word Carolus, means Charles. So this Caroline age literally means the age of Charles. And this age followed the Jacobean age, which was under King James I, and that was known as Jacobean, and ended with the Civil War and the execution of Charles in 1649. Net PYQ. And why he became king? So let's understand the background first. After King James I, the Charles I has ascended the throne. And he was the second son of King James I. The first son of King James I, that is the Henry, Prince of Wales, has died young. So Charles became the king. And he was well educated, refined, and fond of art and culture. However, he believed strongly in divine rights of king. That is, he has the idea that monarch should have authority directly from God. They are answerable to no one else. And this ideology is responsible for his execution. The second reason for execution is that he married Henrietta Maria, who was a Catholic French princess. And this decision further angered the Protestant majority, which became the second reason of his execution. So Charles was a man of taste, music and beauty. His rule soon faced political turmoil and religious unrest, which set the tone for literature of his age. So far as social and historical background is concerned, this age has contrasted two modes. On one hand, there was elegance, fashion, beauty, music and courtly refinement. Similarly, on other hand, there was tension, religious conflict and civil war. So society was divided into two major camps. One is royalists, were known as Cavaliers. They supported the kings. And the other is known as the parliamentarians. They were the roundheads, supported by parliament and have Puritan value. So in this way, society is divided and there is a religious unrest. Meanwhile, the court under Charles was known for luxury, art and poetic charm. And Puritanism rose during this time and promoting morality, simplicity and discipline. So the next stage will be Puritan age or the age of Commonwealth. And we will cover all the Puritan fact in our Puritan age, that is the age of Milton. So let's move to political background. Charles I has dissolved his parliament because it opposed his policies. So he ruled without parliament for 11 years, which is known as the personal rule. And the conflict over taxation, religion and governance grew. So finally, there was English Civil War, spanned 1642 to 1641, which broke out between royalists and parliamentarians. And the royalists lost and the Charles was beheaded in 1649. So his death marked the end of Caroline age and the beginning of Commonwealth period under Oliver Cromwell. What about literary background and what are the key features? So despite political chaos, literature was flourished, especially poetry. That's why there were Cavalier Poets. And the Caroline age is remembered for refined, musical and courtly and graceful verse. So major features were We have elegant and polished poetry, focus on beauty, order, and balance. We have themes of loyalty and honor and love. So, Cavalier poetry flourished a lot. Poets loyal to the king, and there's the influence of Ben Jonson. That's why they were known as son of Ben, which emphasizes on discipline and form. Next one is Masque, which became popular court entertainment. And there is a decline of drama as well due to Puritan restrictions. The next one is there was a literature which became more personal, lyrical, and emotional. So these are the literary feature of Caroline age. Now let's move to our most awaited topic, the Cavalier poets. So Cavalier poets were royalist poets because they were supported by King Charles I, and they believed poetry should express grace, wit, loyalty, and they should reflect the pleasure of life. They were also known as the son of Ben because they are influenced by the philosophy of Ben Jonson, and you can say Johnsonian classical ideas. For instance, Robert Herrick. He was known for his famous work, for famous collection of poems, Hesperidus, written in 1648. He was the greatest lyricist among the Cavaliers. His famous poem, which is Nat PYQ, to the virgins to make much of time. He has Carpe Diem theme, that is, seize the day. His style is very simple, musical and moral. And he was known as the true disciple of Ben Jonson. The next we have Richard Lovelace, a nobleman, soldier, and imprisoned for royal loyalty. His famous poem were To Lucasta going to the wars and To Althea from prison, in which he wrote, stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage, which is very famous line. So his poetry combines honor, love, and freedom. The next we have Sir John Suckling. He was known for his wit and his playfulness. His famous poem is The Ballad upon a Wedding, Why so pale and one fond lover. His poetry is witty, humorous, and light-hearted. The next we have Thomas Carreau. Thomas Carreau is a court poet. He was known for his sensuous elegance. His famous poem is Rapture, The Spring, and Elegy upon Death of Dr. Donne. Important one, these three are NET PYQ question, and he combines Cavalier grace with metaphysical depth. So these were known as the Cavalier poets. Now who is known as son of Ben? Son of Ben were also actually the Cavalier poets admired Ben Jonson, calling themselves son of Bens. So they followed Jonson ideals of order, clarity, wit, and form. They emphasized reason over passion and art over inspiration. The next we have the feature of Masque. Masque is actually a court entertainment which is combining music, poetry, and dance and spectacles. It is performed before the King Charles and Queen, and it reflected royal glory and virtue. For example, Ben Jonson is known as the master of masque among the writers. He is famous for the Masque of Blackness, the Masque of Queen. He was helped by Inigo Jones, who was the famous architect, designer of costumes and stage set. So remember his name as well. So Masque glorified monarchy, beauty, and harmony. It is a reflection of Charles' life, Charles' artistic ideals. The next topic we have Poetomachia. It means the war of theatre. It is actually a Greek word. So this term Poetomachia means war of theatre. It was a literary fight between dramatists in Elizabethan and early Jacobean England, that who is better. Ghar ghar ki kalesh, ghar ghar ki ladai. It's like fighting between two brothers or two sisters. So the main participants were Ben Jonson, John Marston, and Thomas Dekker. So Ben Jonson attacked other playwrights for their poor artistic taste, and then they replied through their satire and parody. Ben Jonson has attacked on John Marston and Thomas Dekker through his writing Every Man in His Humour and Cynthia's Revel, calling them clove, orange, etc. So in reply, John Marston has written historyrometrics and Decker replied with satyromatics. And then the rivalry ends with satyromatics, in which they criticize Ben Jonson fake superiority. So the duration of their fighting was 1599 to 1602, and finally in 1602 it ends. So the Poetomachia is important as it shows the rise of critical consciousness and rivalry in the modern drama. So this is all about the Poetomachia. Also, we have other literary genres of Caroline age, like there is a drama which is declined, but however writers like Philip Messinger, John Ford and James Shirley, they have written many dramas. The famous drama by Philip Messinger is The City Madam. John Ford likes She is a very important net PYQ, and the James Shirley has written The Cardinal. So they keep flame alive. The next we have prose. It has reflective tone like Thomas Browne written Religio Medici, and Jeremy Taylor, Holy Living and Holy Dying. They wrote rich traditional prose. The next we have religious literature, which have deep spiritual and introspective tone. Puritan movement gave rise to sermons and theological work. We have translation, which we read in Jacobean age because they have transition figure. King James I Bible 1611. Also, we have George Chapman. Actually, he is a key transitional figure and he influenced Cavalier Poets. That's why we are reading it in Caroline age as well. So his famous Busy Day Boys, important for NET exam and also asked in NET PYQ. So it is very important tragedy, which is full of passionate rhetoric and intellectual depth. He also wrote The Blind Beggar of Alexandria, Old Fools, and you know what? Keats admired him, and he has also written a poem on the first looking into Chapman, which is very important. So this is all about George Chapman. The next we have Thomas Hadwood. This is also important. Again I say they all are transitional figure. So Thomas Hadwood is known for his 220 plays, and the important one is The English Traveller and A Woman Killed with Kindness. These both are important and NET PYQ. And it is all about the Caroline age. So we have covered each and every point about the Caroline age, and I hope you enjoy this lecture. So if you found this lecture helpful, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to MeghaDiscourse, where literature is not just studied but felt. So stay tuned for the Commonwealth age as well, and if you have any query, then please let me know in comment section. Bye bye.